One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. These words, spoken by Carl Jung, encapsulate a profound insight. Reaching truth doesn't solely consist of adhering to pleasant or positive ideas. The path to enlightenment calls us to embrace the entirety of who we are. The aspects we love and celebrate alongside those we often reject or conceal. It is through this harmonious integration that we discover the unity of our existence. A fusion that encompasses the bright aspects we proudly exhibit, and the shadowy corners we turn away from and prefer to ignore. This process of integration helps us fully embrace our complete being, even the hidden and sometimes painful aspects. It serves to reintegrate the fragmented parts of our being, allowing us to harmonize and integrate all facets of our existence through this journey. A sense of completeness and fulfillment may arise, offering a profound sense of unity and fusion with all creation. An experience often described by many mystics. To achieve this sense of fulfillment, we must integrate all events of which we are conscious, all parts of the I am, with the hidden aspects of the unconscious. The I am not. This includes traits we have rejected, suppressed, or renounced due to shame, self-contempt, or suffering. Quoting Albert Einstein's words, "Darkness is the absence of light to illuminate this shadow." We must delve into the depths of our inner self. Understand the mechanisms of denial, and be willing to risk our established world and comfort zone. It is akin to an internal odyssey, journeying through unexplored territories of ourselves, dimensions we might have overlooked or deliberately avoided. This might take us through valleys of doubt, fear, and wounds from the past. However, it is precisely in this darkness that we unearth our inner strength, resilience, and potential for profound transformation. Each step towards self-acceptance and understanding brings us closer to our true higher self. The brightest truth is covered by your deepest fears, driven by your ego. Until this truth emerges, you will not fully understand who you are, what you are not, or why you do what you do. So let us remember that although external paths promise quick results, the authentic journey to enlightenment unfolds internally. It is a solemn pilgrimage where we embrace our wholeness, the luminous and the shadowed. Through this process, we immerse ourselves in our subconscious, with the potent and directed light of our consciousness gradually illuminating, integrating, or dissipating our shadows. The main action we must take to approach our liberation is to illuminate our shadows and to illuminate them. The first thing we must do is delve into them, making them conscious, by recognizing and observing them. In order to work on them, this work can be approached in many ways. One very effective method is to mentally recreate the situation that originated the trauma or shadow. Observe it while trying to dissociate from it. Being mere observers, like watching a scene from a movie. First, we see the scene and observe the emotions that arise in us, and then we work on the scene by asking ourselves several questions. For example, did it happen as we remember, or have we distorted it in our minds? Is there something else that we did not take into account, that could explain and help us understand why it happened that way? If it was a person who treated us badly, for example, was that person aware of what they were doing? And ultimately, even if someone intentionally hurts us, we have the tools of compassion and forgiveness, external forgiveness and compassion towards the person or situation. But above all, and most importantly, forgiveness towards ourselves for not interpreting the situation correctly, or for letting that unresolved conflict weigh on our backpack, casting shadows over our days. All of this should lead us to reconcile with the situation and accept it as it happened. This acceptance and understanding will make us integrate that situation. And instead of a trauma or shadow, it will become a learning experience and strength. We will have used the art of mental transmutation and alchemy to rid ourselves of mental limitations. We must release our anchors and enter the realm of the heart inside us. The shadows do not speak to our ears, but to our minds and emotions. They are echoes of thoughts born from forgotten traumas and wounded inner children. These shadows are aspects of our own light that have fragmented, hiding and darkening in some corner of our inner self. We cannot achieve full enlightenment. If parts of our light remain hidden and dimmed, as those shadows will be a burden that dims our own light. These parts may manifest as negative thoughts or emotions resonating in our minds. They are like frozen moments in time, trapped in behavioral patterns we display in certain stages of life. These internal shadows exist in a timeless realm, trapped in the age when they emerged, like that traumatic experience you had at 15. If the trauma or shadow was created at 15 years old, the associated emotion is imprinted with that age. And when an activator brings it up, behavior, characteristic of that age, appears even after 20 years of that experience. Those wounded inner children resurface and maintain that age, growing in size but not in maturity. They arise due to a lack of attention and love at that time, and long to be loved and attended to again. Within each of us lies a wounded inner child, timeless and immutable. This part has been relegated to the subconscious, forgotten and hidden, yet persistent and present, despite our attempts to suppress and ignore it. This facet persists and reemerges at every opportunity, waiting to be tended to. We cannot simply eliminate it because it coexists with us often for many years and has grown big and strong. Instead of turning away from this shadowy presence, we must observe and listen to it, engage in dialogue and understand it by giving it the attention and understanding it ceases to be a shadow and becomes a part of our totality of our light. This elusive aspect goes by various names: wounded in a child, in a demon, internal darkness, or fallen light. Regardless of the designation, it is essential for our growth to stop turning away from them, and instead attend to them, and give them the love they lacked at the time. This love is the light that will dissolve the shadows. The wounds of our inner shadows can persist for years, influencing our beliefs and behaviors. Long after their emergence, often we attract negative situations, relationships, and people repeatedly, without understanding why this happens subconsciously, due to the presence of wounded inner children that resurface time and again, clamoring for our love and attention. Let's consider an example. If we feel unworthy or insecure when speaking in public, it may stem from a childhood experience of rejection, criticism, or ridicule. Perhaps when we were young, we loved to sing and did it constantly at home. But when we did it at school, some of our classmates made fun of us. This led to a trauma in us, making us believe we sang badly, and it was something shameful. Our mind associated singing and expressing freely as something wrong. And from that moment onwards, we avoided it, even hiding it deep in our subconscious, so as not to recreate it and suffer again, to integrate and illuminate this shadow. For instance, we could mentally recreate the scene and realize that there was nothing wrong with our manner or singing, even if we were not particularly good at it. The problem lay with those children who, due to their unconsciousness, were eager to ridicule others, stemming from their low self-esteem. By recognizing shadows in others, we come to understand that their actions are not always directed negatively towards us, but often stem from their own internal conflicts. This perspective prevents us from taking things personally and fosters a compassionate outlook, allowing us to overcome unnecessary drama by facing and paying attention to this inner shadow and exploring its origin. We release negative emotions and beliefs, replacing them with self-love and compassion. When we suppress our shadows, they insist on being heard. Negative internal dialogue, anxiety, or depression may emerge from these shadows without our understanding of their origin. By embracing and illuminating these parts, they are resolved, releasing energy for our use and benefit, integrating back into our conscious being, and amplifying our light and internal connection with the Source.